So I lost a $10,000 client right at the finish line, and I'm going to go through each of the mistakes I made so you won't have to make them. It all started a couple months ago where, at the time, I had been really honing my skills using AI to automate business processes, especially in the realm of voice AI. It was about time I started doing cold outreach to see if I could make a little bit of cold hard cash. It just so happens that I started an advertising agency with friends a few years back during my second year at uni. I know, how original, right? But that's not the point I'm trying to get at. I have an existing small mailing list of businesses and YouTubers which I use to cold outreach. Now everybody watching, I want you to take this advice. Anytime you have the opportunity to throw a Hail Mary, like something that seems so far-fetched but could work, do it 100 times out of 100, right? Alright, so I have this mailing list full of company emails from back then, right? But I have no idea if they need AI automation, but like, just fuck it, right? Let's just send this mailing list before I start personalizing one, or else it'll just sit there gathering dust, right? So when it comes to cold outreach, it's very important you understand a little bit about something called leverage, right? So I like to think of it as something you can use to distinguish yourself from others and leverage a position of power. For me, the first thing that really comes to mind is my university, right? It's because you see, I went to a university called LSE, which is very hard to get into. So because of this, it's kind of respected. So I can use this as leverage in my cold email to add a slight drop of authenticity to someone who doesn't even know me, right? Anyway, this is not a video on cold outreach. So here's the email, it's follow-ups, and let's just send it to all these guys, right? I received this email, a golden opportunity to win. Even described to me what he wanted me to do. This is a layup in terms of a first contact, right? Let's read through it. Hello Nawaz, thanks for your email. Although I cannot promise anything, nor am I looking for such appointment, I am happy to meet with you for a conversation in my office if you'd like to. Since the subject is not familiar to me, I suggest you prepare some example of how your skill set and the said technology can save me cost on manpower or alternatively speed up the work of my current manpower. Have a good evening. Well, since he asked for examples, it's a little bit difficult as AI automation usually serves best when I know the business's inner working, that I can suggest where AI can cut a whole department out for a fraction of the price. So we went back and forth and settled on a Teams meeting first, right? So let's skip to the Teams meeting. So we picked up in a nearby cafe and was eating what looked like a wrap, right? So here we discussed our backgrounds and such. He made the distinction that he respected that I messaged the head of the company first, okay? So now you guys can understand why I told you guys to throw Hail Marys earlier, right? So anyways, here is where I made my first small mistake. Not the 3 minor ones I mentioned earlier, but as you can tell by the length of the video, this is like a minor one. So since this is my first call in the AI space, I was a little bit everywhere and the solutions I suggested were quite general. So after a bit of explanation and discussion, he said I should think of ways to help him in specific. And that was that. Although this mistake was minor, I suggest for you guys to present the example you give in terms of money saved as opposed to what it literally is, right? Right, so at this point, I thought I was cooked, right? Until I received this email reading this. Hello Nawaz, good talk on Wednesday. I am happy to progress our conversation, and if you'd like to meet me in my office and get an understanding of what we do, let me know if you're available next week Thursday at 1. Alright, so some of what I was saying stuck with him and he wants to meet me in his office, alright? So here I can learn about his operations and find a personalized way to help. So I suited up and headed to London, and I arrived at the office, met the team, sat in his office and talked, right? We actually had a good talk and discussed different opportunities I could help him with. We ended up talking about this call service he pays for to pick up missed calls and calls after office hours. Now he pays approximately £1,000 a month for this, and I know I can do it for much cheaper. So the golden rule I use here was to end the meeting with an action item, okay? So the conversation pivoted to my voice AI, and I was like, how about this? I will build you a prototype using voice AI to replace your current existing calls team, and we can review it together next week. And of course it worked. He wanted to meet up once I had built a prototype using the script he had given his call center. So no major mistakes so far, right? All sunshine and rainbows even. Well, just wait until I show him the prototype I built, alright? Prototype wasn't bad necessarily, I actually built it was actually quite well built. I built this using Blend AI for the voice AI and Make.com for the backend, and it sounded great and worked decent for a beta. I set it up so I can call it on my phone via Skype, right? In terms of pricing, the total monthly cost of my AI would be around £250 a month. This means I'd be saving the company around 9k a year. So, with retainer, the setup cost, and the additional contract he might give me, I only did have a $10,000 a month client on my hands. But here's where I made my first major mistake. On the Blank Community Discord, I was talking with someone high up who knew what they were talking about, and they said to buy your own Twilio add-on. was going to become free soon. Now this add-on allows Bland to be used within the UK and it costs £200 a month, okay? This is the majority of the cost because the total cost of my AI is around £250. I was going to use this as a sweetener, but oh how bad I fucked up. So we met in his office again. He brought in all the admins and I presented my prototype. It went over great with some small kinks in the functionality, but that was fine because I knew I was making it free of charge and it was a beta. But then he mentioned his requirement. Essentially, he wants me to keep his reviews good and keep his costs low. No, classic, not bad, right? In addition, he found that the new monthly cost of £250 was much cheaper than his 1,000, right? But then I became zealous and I mentioned the possibility of the buy your own Twilio becoming free. And the monthly cost going to around £25 a month. Major mistake 1. Don't reveal your cards prematurely, alright? He suddenly became tunnel visioned on this new low cost of £25 and began asking for deadlines for when this would be implemented. I mean, as he should as a businessman. This is my fault, by the way. It became a crutch for the deal at this point. Such a price reduction was too good to leave behind, right? Revealing my cards too early had cornered me. And if you're wondering, 3 months later, it still wasn't free.
Alright, slight editor's note, it's actually free right now, like it just turned free. So maybe if this was free back then, I would have got the deal straight away, you know. From £1 a month to £25 a month is a huge drop and I might have actually secured the deal straight away. Anyway, back to the video.
If that didn't completely seal the deal, we ended up talking about implementation, and then I suggested that we probably need a new number, and then he suddenly changed and became really adamant and said he cannot under no circumstance change his number because he has billboards and cards and stuff. Those will change in Viber, right? So we ended up calling his phone provider in the office to see if we could redirect calls to his existing number, and whilst it ended up being possible and very convenient, the damage was already been done. Major mistake 2, getting knowledge checked. Yup. As a second major mistake right away. Well, now I know that I can just set up a redirect with a phone company for free instead of getting people riled up with the idea of changing their number. But back then I didn't, which I'm sure planted seeds of doubt. Okay, 2 bad mistakes, but after the call with the provider, it turns out that redirecting the call was easy and he asked for the phone company to set up a Google Meet with his account manager and to CC me on it as well. He said in the meeting that this was to go over logistics and go over things. But bro, that was so wrong. I joined the call and yeah, straight away he asked his manager what options he had for the issue I was fixing. Now I'm fighting against the phone company, alright? So I'm not saying this because I'm salty, right? But I am a little bit, but the option they suggested was like a soft fix and not really a good product. But then the manager stopped selling and organized a demo showcase for the next day. The manager left and left me with the business owner on the call. I think you can tell where this is going. Major mistake 3. There are no friends in the industry. In this post-call meeting, we briefly discussed the solution the phone company was offering. Remember that the meeting was supposed to be about logistics and suddenly got turned into this. My headspace is a little bit woozy, alright? But I gave the explanation that whilst their solution does work, it doesn't meet a lot of those requirements he set for my solution. Things that might stem from the robotic voice because it was super robotic compared to mine, which sounded decently real, right? But that's where I went wrong for the final time. And you should learn from me, I should have discredited their solution fully in favor of mine. Just by mentioning, yeah, it works, but blah blah blah. He understood that this solution partially works, but at least he got the security of working with the whole phone company, which was much better trade-off than working with me and risking it, right? I understand that in hindsight this is obvious. Instead, with all of the mistakes that I had racked up, he probably needed my pseudo green light to go forward with the safer option of a phone company rather than an individual. Well, next day we had the demo meeting and it was me, him and the phone company, but this time he had his whole tech crew there around the conference table giving a live demo. So yeah, I got fully cooked that day and received this later. Dinner was. See attached as discussed. You can see the service offered is very affordable despite the 36-month contract. I wish to be honest and share that I will be opting to take this service because it fulfills the overall needs we require to achieve. I did engage with you in good faith. I am happy to stay in touch despite not being able to work to get bonification, if this is okay with you. At least I was working with somebody really nice and transparent to me, right? But this all comes down to one thing. Comeuppance. A punishment or fate that someone deserves. So, because of my errors, I lost my client. Am I upset about this? Yeah, it was 10,000 monkey pounds, right? But I also built confidence and learned from my mistakes. So let's close out by summarizing them, shall we? Mistake 1, do not reveal your cards too early. Even though it hurts, sometimes showing something that's out of your hands will change the course of the conversation, which will then subsequently get out of your hands as well. I'm not saying don't promise things you don't know, but can learn. I'm saying this from a technical standpoint, like with my example. Mistake 2, getting knowledge checked. I thought I knew mostly everything about what I was selling, but I didn't consider the phone number situation at all. However, this does come with time and iteration, but if you are starting afresh, it might be a good idea to just get a grasp of niche options other people have used to close clients, because at least you know they are possible and can be talked about. Mistake number 3, there are no friends in the industry. Having a golden heart won't win you any prizes in the free market. I mistakenly said the competition product could work. That shot me in the foot when I was already riddled with my previous mistakes bullets, alright? Keep your product at the forefront and fight till the end, okay? Well, that's it. I do feel like Egbert, that's the game, innit?